So Paul is from LocalMotion, and LocalMotion is an organisation in several parts of the UK. It pilots projects, and one is in Enfield, and they try to get work. They try to get groups to work collaboratively together to get systemic change, and to encourage the use of dialogue for the solution of problems, so that voices that are often unheard can be heard. So, Paul, can I ask you to begin with? You're involved in this, and we're so pleased you've come in on this. Why is this sort of project important to you in terms of your mission?
Um, if everyone listened carefully to Hallie and to Iveta, that's the reason why it's really important. The voices of our communities um, are rarely heard, and this is a really fantastic way for us to provide a platform where we properly listen to the voices of our community. Um, and I think Hallie put a finger on it when she said that actually quite often these listening exercises happen and then nothing happens with it. And what's really important is what we do next. And I think also to that is, and who do we do that with? And who we do that with must be those communities that we're talking to. How do we create those platforms where our communities are leading rather than things are being done to our communities? Because we've as a society, we all can see, I think, that we now have created a culture where someone else does something and we are the recipients of what they do. And we need to become again a culture where we lead things which are to do with us. So at the heart of LocalMotion, we believe that the communities most affected by things are the people who should be making the decisions about things. So if decisions are being made about provision for disability in Enfield, disabled people must be at the table deciding how those services are run.
Okay, and one of the things that you got quite excited about when you heard about this project was the World Cafe way of doing things, because that's something that Locomotion is particularly interested in, isn't it?
Uh, LocalMotion have created a learning framework. And the reason why we've created this, I'm going to post it into the chat so you can all see it. Why LocalMotion have created this is because we believe that we should all be learning together, and the learning should be iterative learning. Sorry, I've lost you now. I'm too busy looking at my website. Apologies. Right, I've posted it in our link. So we should all be, so we've created a toolkit to sort of talk about how we embed learning within ourselves, within the work we do, and within our communities. And and we talk about some of the theory of learning that LocalMotion is doing. And part of that is that we shouldn't be leaving people behind. We should all be learning together. So part of us learning together is ensuring that parts of our community aren't left behind us, and we don't just tell people what to do. We learn together, and sometimes that means going back and learning again and going back and learning again until we're all at the same place. Um, and part of our learning, in fact, we've developed some tools of learning. So some of the tools we can learn to use to help us learn together. And one of those tools is the World Cafe model. And so if you look in our toolkit, you'll see that actually I'll put a link to what that World Cafe model looks like. So it's a tool within our toolkit. So we're really excited that this initiative is using that World Cafe tool.
The other
But
thing
it's
that,
one tool within a
yeah,
huge toolkit.
yeah, sure. But one other thing that fits in with what locomotion has focused on is the East-West divide in a way. Um, and you were quite keen that we were doing something in the West, in Cockfosters and the East and Upper Edmonton. How important is it to ensure that we have that sort of representation?
The East-West divide is quite an interesting thing. I mean, we all can see the difference between in a crude sense that the east of the borough is it has much higher levels of deprivation than the west of the borough. However, in the west of the borough, there are also huge pockets of deprivation too. So we're not really talking about east versus west. We're talking about equity, really, at the heart of it. This initiative, by looking at Cockfosters, that if you look in the index of deprivation, is one of the wealthiest parts of the UK, and then you're looking at Upper Edmonton, which is in amongst the bottom 10% of deprivation in the UK, that it will be interesting to see how those communities feel about resilience, how they see the climate crisis, how they see their own resilience to it. I don't want to, at this point, predict or what those communities are going to say. What this gives us the opportunity is really listen to what they've got to say, because we must come to those conclusions after we've heard what the community have got to say, not before.